everyone, and welcome back to my channel, Ronnie the Reader. Today we are going to be talking about some books that I feel are a little bit underrated. Some of these you may have heard of, some of them you may not have heard of. I have 4 books that I want to discuss today, so hopefully if you have not read these books, you may want to pick them up based on this video. And if you have read these books, let me know if you think they're underrated. I picked all of these because they are books that I've either never heard talked about online anywhere before, or because I hear them not frequently or from 1 or 2 people that I've seen. So I wanted to talk about them and why I liked them. So we will jump into the first book here. The first book that we have up today is a male-male romance, and it is The Holiday Hoax by Skylar M. Cates. I read this book in 2017. It is a holiday fake dating, fake boyfriend romance, and I don't even know where I found this, like, especially in 2017. Maybe I found it just like on Kindle for like $1.99 or something and bought it, but it's a short, I would classify it as probably more of a novella. I think it's like maybe 200 pages, if even that long, but it's essentially following a main character. What is his name again? Evan. So he is traveling back home, and he is an out man. He is out as gay to his family, but he's not had much luck in like the dating department. So he is saying that he's going to bring like his boyfriend home for Christmas, but his like boyfriend that he has is like a complete and total jerk, obviously. And so he dumps Evan before they head home for Christmas. Evan runs into this other man named JD who agrees to pretend to be his boyfriend. And then of course, you know, hijinks ensue with the fake dating trope as it is. So ultimately, this is just a really cute story. Now, if it doesn't hold up, I will fully admit that I have not reread it. I did reread it for Christmas, I think of 2019 or 2020. I read like a bunch of cute little quick romances. I never like counted them towards like a reading goal or added them again on Goodreads or anything like that. I think I read 3 or 4. It might even have been in 2021. But yeah, I read some books like, you know, for Christmas and doing all of that, and this was fine then. Even when I read it, I don't remember any glaring issues with it. And so it's just a cute holiday romance. I read it in June, the first time I read it though, so it's not like you need to read it at Christmas time, but if you're looking for a Christmassy time read that will be super quick to add, you know, quickly onto a TBR at the end of the year, I definitely recommend this. I think it's cute. I think this is the only Skylar M. Cates book I ever read. I don't know if they have any other books. But yeah, so the first book that I'm talking about is The Holiday Hoax. The next book that I have is Anything Could Happen by Will Walton. This is a like YA contemporary queer-esque story following a main character named Tretch, who is struggling with his sexuality. He's kind of struggling to come out. It's not like a romance per se, but it's more of just like a coming of age story. And I read it in 2017 when I was, how old was I in 2017? Like 19, I think. No, I was 20. I turned 20 in 2017, I think. Yes, I did. So I read it as a 20-year-old, and I thought it was really kind of beautiful and really well written, and captures that struggle of a teenager, you know, struggling with their sexuality really well. I've not reread it since. I do still have it and always planned to reread it. It's a quick book. I think it's only like 200 pages once again, so you definitely can get through it pretty quickly. It's not anything that is super like dense or anything that's too like traumatic either. It's just kind of a young boy trying to figure out his sexuality, trying to figure out how to tell his friends and his family and, you know, all of the people that are important in his life. And ultimately, I think this book is just really underrated. I never have heard really anyone talk about it before. I found it randomly at Barnes & Noble when I went, and I just bought it and read it when I got home. So it's, you know, not like I was on the hunt for this book or that it had come at a recommendation. It's just something that I found in the bookstore, picked up, and really ended up enjoying when I read it. So it's definitely something that I do want to reread in the future at some point, but it's not like a high priority. But if you're really into YA contemporary, I think that you would enjoy this book. Alright, switching genres a bit, and a book that I have heard more about, it's The Woman in the Library by Sulari Gentile, and this is a kind of mystery thriller, like puzzle-esque book. It's really, really interestingly written and really well written. And I absolutely loved it. I read it last year in 2024. And I know that she has some other books that I definitely want to check out, but you're essentially following the investigation of this woman who is in the library with some other random strangers. I think it's the Boston Library, I think is where the story is set. And she is investigating the disappearance and eventual murder of this woman that they find in the library. So it's really interesting. There's kind of a core cast of like four characters that you're really following, and the dynamics and interpersonal drama between those four never becomes like melodramatic or overly simplified or done. It always stays fresh and interesting and relevant, and the shifting dynamics makes for an interesting read all the way through the end. And then there's this other element that not many people talk about, so I'm not going to talk about it here, but there's a really interesting framework for the story that I think, if anything, for me, is what really oversold the book to being like a 5 star and being a really interesting, really creative read, and is what really sticks out in my mind as to why I like this book. And I've only ever heard it mentioned by one other person online, and that's Books and Lala. I have not seen anyone else recommend it. Now, maybe people are, and I just haven't seen that, but I really like this book, and I thought it was really well done, so I definitely, definitely recommend it. All right, and then last up, we're going to be talking about Recursion by Blake Crouch, which I also read last year. This is a sci-fi thriller, and I also read Dark Matter by Blake Crouch, and I feel like that's really popular, and a lot of people are into that, but I feel like less people have read Recursion, which I gave 5 stars and I thought was really interestingly well told, and I thought was ultimately more satisfying as a story than Dark Matter. And Recursion, you're following two main characters. Essentially, the story is following like experiments in memory and time, and there's like this disease that is affecting people where they have like a sudden memory or memories pop into their mind of like a past or a different life that they had that feels so vivid and real that they are sure they did actually live that life, but obviously they didn't. And so what's the story behind that? And then the story gets just really like action packed at the end and really kind of mind bendy and sci-fi thrillery. And it's super fast paced. I read this book, I think, in like 2 days, and I listened to some of it as an audiobook and read some of it physically. And I thought both were really, really well done. And yeah, I just don't hear too many people talking about this one, but I think if you're into sci-fi and enjoy sci-fi, I don't see why you would not like this one. All right, so those are just a few like underrated book gems that I definitely recommend that I think you should be reading. If you agree or disagree, definitely let me know down below, and definitely let me know some of your underrated book gems. I feel like I just read so many like popular books and books that you see all over like TikTok and YouTube and Instagram. This year, I really want to try to find books that I have not necessarily heard of so much. Not like completely change my reading, because let's face it, I do enjoy the popular books most of the time. And so I'm not like looking to completely reinvent the wheel here, and kind of not go with the group per se, but I definitely just am. I'm wanting to find new and interesting books that aren't talked about a lot that will really, really like blow my mind, especially like mystery thrillers. I've been reading those for years and years and years, and I feel like I've hit a lot of the good ones. Of course, there are still some underrated gems in that genre that have not found yet, but I'm just really wanting to find books that I've not heard about but are well reviewed and people really like. So if you have any of those recommendations for me, definitely let me know down below. And if you decide to pick up any of these books based on my recommendation, I hope that you enjoy. Definitely come back to this video and let me know what you thought about it. But yeah, that's all I have. A quick video today, so until next time, I will talk to you then. Bye.